There's no other way to say this. Joel Embiid is a monster. A monster.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hello, I'm flying solo today. My name is Keith Pompey. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Locked On 76ers podcast. Just want to give you all a little, Christmas Eve podcast. I'm actually just finished packing. I'm getting ready to hop on the flight to go to Miami to cover the Sixers game tomorrow, and I'll be with the team on the road trip. Well, let me just break it down to y'all, let you know. I don't travel with the team, but I cover the team. So when I say I'll be with the team, meaning, I'll be at the media availabilities, I'll be at the game, I'll be, this and that. So the Sixers go to Miami tomorrow. Actually, they play in Miami on Christmas. Then on Wednesday, they play the Orlando Magic. Then they got the Houston Rockets. And that's on Friday. And on Saturday, they have the Chicago Bulls. So I'll be at those 4 games. Now, what I want to talk to y'all about is Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid. I mean, Joel Embiid has been extremely dominant. He's been destroying it. And I can talk about what he's been doing for days, right? Days. But in addition to Joel Embiid, we're going to break down Tobias Harris's performance. Tobias Harris has been a little bit, we called him out. I wrote about him in the Philadelphia Inquirer. A lot of things. He's been Mr. Passive, not aggressive. But on Friday, Tobias came out and had a season-high 33 points. He had 24 points in the first half. Brother man was bowling. So we'll talk about that. And then in the third segment, the Sixers picked up Kenny Lofton Jr. Some people call him, his nickname is Kenny, but there's also things written about him, Kenneth Lofton Jr. I just want to break that down. I kind of like his game. He's like, I'm not comparing him, but he has a body like Barkley when Barkley first came in, meaning, 6'7" guy. Barkley was shorter than that, though, but 6'7", listed 280, over 300 pounds, extremely athletic, does things. The only thing is, I don't know if you really have a future with the Sixers when you sign these two-way deals. Now, maybe, who knows? Maybe he could crack it. Maybe he could crack it, but we'll see. But let's talk about Embiid. Joel Embiid right now, when we look at it, this guy is not only is he the NBA's best player, the Sixers center is better than last year's MVP campaign season. This dude is dominating the league. It was one of those things after Nikola Jokic won the NBA title, and how he was dominating folks in the playoffs and all that other stuff. And Joel won MVP last year. He won MVP. He deserved it. I'll go to Twitter. I voted for Embiid. Second year in a row I voted for him. I didn't vote for him beforehand, but that was second year in a row that I voted for him. And, some of my, I guess you want to call beat writer colleagues and all this other stuff were basically apologizing for voting for Embiid MVP. And the reason why they were apologizing is because Nikola Jokic was just putting up great numbers, doing great things, leading his team to the championship, right? They won the chip. And there was a lot of people like saying how they had it wrong. They had this, they had that. And as much as Embiid says he didn't do anything this year, he sure is having a hold my beer moment. Literally. the brother is having a hold my beer moment. Like when you look at him, right? Embiid is averaging 35 points a game. I mean, 35 points. That in itself is like what ridiculous, right? So he's averaging, 35 points. But the crazy thing about it, y'all, he's averaging 35 points in 34.2 minutes. He is on pace to join Hall of Famer Wilt Chamberlain, arguably the best player to ever put Lace It Up from Overbrook High, my man John Mitchell, same school, is the only players since the 1954-55 season to finish with more points than minutes played. Wilt averaged 50.4 points in 48.5 minutes for the Philadelphia Warriors during the 1961-62 season. And for some of you guys saying Philadelphia Warriors, for you young bucks, yep, they were in Philadelphia. Then they moved to San Francisco, and then they became the Golden State Warriors. And they, this and that. Now, here's the thing, y'all. If Embiid played 48.5 minutes per game that Chamberlain played, he would be averaging 49.9 points. So when I say that Joel Embiid is putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers, and then sometimes you have critics saying, "What are you talking about, Keith? How dare you say that?" There you go. He's putting up Wilt Chamberlain numbers. Now, in addition to leading the league in scoring, Joel is 5th in rebounds at 11.7 per game, 9th in blocks, right, at 2 per game, and he's averaging a career best 6 assists. Now, to me, that's the one thing that really stands out. Now, some people may talk about his defense, Now, the 2 blocks a game and his defensive presence is phenomenal. You got to say that. He also averaged 2.5 blocks as a rookie. Now, again, he only played in 30-something games, right? Whatever, that year. But he averaged 2.5. But the thing that's getting me is the assists. And it's kind of like that was the thing that he was a turnover waiting to happen. He still turns the ball over a lot, which can be a little bit misleading because if you look at a lot of guys who handle the ball a lot, especially big guys and, like Chris Paul, like different, stuff like that. But they tend to turn the ball over a lot. They do. They turn the ball over a lot. I mean, you look at James Harden, and James Harden, was on that prolific tear, when he was with the Houston Rockets. Look at his turnovers. He turned the ball over a lot. So, it's easy to point out, oh, yeah, Joe had 6 turnovers. I get it. But to me, him having a career best 6 assists speaks volumes because that was the one thing that Nikola Jokic could do. Distribute the rock and do things like and make his teammates better that the critics said Joel couldn't. So when you look at Joel, you're like, okay, he's really balling. Now, again, Joel winning regular season awards has never, and accolades has never been a problem. Producing the regular season has never been a problem. Joel's going to be ultimately judged by what he does in the postseason, right? He is. But right now, I have to say that this dude is balling. And I have a lot of respect for Marcus Morris. I have a lot of respect for Nick Batum. I have a lot of respect for Cove. All these guys, Patrick Beverly. And the reason why I'm singling these guys out, because they've been in the league for 10 plus years. They're veterans. They played with Kawhi Leonard. They played with LeBron James. They played with the Dame Lillards. You know what I mean? Like they played with these top 75 guys, all the time. They played with future Hall of Famers. And when they tell me that Embiid's the best in the league, I believe them. I mean, I do. And I get it. Sometimes you might say, what else is he going to say? That's his teammate, right? Like real rap. Like, what else is he going to say? That's his teammate. But when I hear them praising him, I believe it. Like the one thing, Morris told me, says, like dude is like, he's different. Like he was trying to collect his thoughts. He said it ain't even about scoring, man. He said this bloop bloop plays defense. He helps guys protect the rim. So he's doing it on both sides of the ball. I don't know any superstar that's willing to put their body on the line day in and day out like that. Like literally, right? I mean, he said that. And then, this is the one thing that really got me thinking. And it's true. And Morris goes on and he says, he protects the rim. He's scoring from all three levels, which is true. He can score from all three levels. Then he said, I put shooting there. I don't remember another player like that at 7-2. That's when, and then when he get down low, he's on some Shaq bloop. You know what I mean? And I do know what he means. And it's crazy that he says that because when now Shaq, I think Shaq was a more consistently forceful player. Like Shaq's dominance was unguardable. Nobody could guard him. There are times when Joel Embiid displays that, right? But I don't know if Joel going to the rim is more harder or impactful than Shaq. I don't know it. We see it from time to time, but I'm telling you, Shaq was breaking stuff, right? He was that strong, like breaking backboards, things like that. So, but I'll tell you this about Shaq. The 2000 MVP and 4-time NBA championship was more dominant near the basket. However, Embiid has a 15-foot jump shot that's lethal, y'all. I'm telling you, his jump shot is more clutch than most people's, I don't want to say most, but some people's layup. You know what I mean? He can hit the three. He can put it on the floor, drive to the basket, or pull up for a mid-range jumper. Oh, and he's hitting 89.3% of his free throws. Shaq couldn't do any of those things. Nada. And then when you talk to Nick Nurse, he says, look, I keep saying this. I think he's continuing to get better. I think that he's just doing enough different things rhythmically to keep guys guessing. Listen, my favorite stuff is every now and then he shoots it. He makes it. And then all of a sudden he goes down the lane and dunks it on about three people. I'm telling you, Joel Embiid is displaying pure dominance this year, y'all. Pure dominance. He's been phenomenal. Extremely phenomenal. I'm telling you. The brother's been balling. And it's something that we have to pay attention to. He's having a great year, great season. And you know what? Again, I keep saying it over and over again. I know that he's going to be judged based off of what he does in the postseason, right? He's going to be judged based on what he does in the postseason. But I'm here to tell you, he's balling. Big time balling. And when we get right back, I want to talk to y'all about Tobias Harris. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Now, let's talk about Tobias, right? So, Tobias, last time we were on here, we kind of called out Tobias, and I did it also in the article. And I really called him out. I'm not going to say call him out. What I did is I said, I get it. When I just said all those things to you guys about how dominant Joel Embiid is, right? Tyrese Maxey has been the best sidekick for Joel in a while. Tyrese Maxey, Joel's balling, Maxey is balling. Their two-man game and that pick and roll has been hard to stop. Now, what happened is they used to have more of a ball movement, ball-oriented thing. And then let's face it, when Kelly Oubre went down, got to a point where they start going to the pick and roll a lot more. Well, they go to it, and guess what happens? Teams can't stop it. So they keep going to it, keep going to it, keep going to it. And that's what they tell you to do. Now, in the midst of that, other people had to create their own shots, be aggressive. Because like I said, Embiid is getting the assist now. So you be aggressive. Maxey has the ball, point guard. Be aggressive, they'll find you. But Tobias wasn't really that aggressive, right? He just wasn't. He wasn't. He was staying in the corner, whatever, the whole nine. Well, against the Raptors on Friday, Tobias seemed like to find the ball before he wanted the ball to find him. No, he went out there and found the ball. He had 18 points in the first quarter, I believe it was, 24 at the half, and ended up with 33, right? He was balling. And he has to keep this up. And I'm happy for him. I mean, I am. Because, you want to see he's the third star of the team. And what they did in the process, they had three guys. Maxey had 33. Tobias had 33. Joel had 31. Joel almost had a triple-double too now. He had, He had 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists, right? So if Tobias can keep this up, it's going to make it lethal. Now, again, that two-man game is their best thing. But we all know once the playoffs come out, I talked about this before, teams are going to take that away from Tobias. They are. They're going to take it away from not Tobias, from Joel and Maxey. And they're going to force Tobias to produce. So if you get him ready now, he should be ready. And see, the problem is too often with the Sixers, like they'll do something in the all regular season, then the playoffs come, they try to let's implement this new stuff because of injuries, because of this, because of that, or whatever, right? Well, you got a new coach. And, I think what he's trying to do, and I don't think, he's trying to see who's going to step up. That's the reason why Pat Bev goes out there and shoot threes. He can shoot them. Coach is like, do it. That's why DeAnthony Melton is attacking the rim, playing like he can, right? That's why Marcus Morris is always cutting outside and wide open for a three and draining them. Because coach knows that I need people to step up in the playoffs. And look, Tobias is the third star. He's not getting plays ran for him. But hey, you got to find the ball. And Tobias found the ball the last couple games. He found the ball. So, not the last game. So we got to see if he's going to step up and he's going to do that because they're going to need him. And this is a big stretch. This stretch against Miami, Orlando, Houston, and Chicago. I mean, Chicago beat them the last time they played. Chicago's not that good. They're athletic. They have good talent, but they don't have a good record. Houston is a surprising team. Orlando might be the team of the year as far as comeback team of the year, right? I mean, Orlando has been balling. They've been balling. So, this is going to be a barometer test for the Sixers, and we'll see what they can do. But we'll also see what Tobias can do. And, we'll see if Tobias can continue to step up. I don't want to call it a fluke or anything like that, but we're going to see if this is a fluke game for the way they play. It's going to be a national TV game tomorrow in Miami. We're going to see. We're going to see if Tobias can keep this up, keep balling, do what he has to do, right? I'm telling you. We'll find out shortly tomorrow after you guys open up your gifts and do whatever all the other things you have to do. We'll definitely find out. But when we get back, I want to talk to you guys about Kenny Lofton Jr. from Louisiana Tech. I kind of like the guy. He's a pretty good player for what he is. But it's weird. I always felt like he should have stayed in school another year, but he went to the combine and was killing it. So more power to him, but we'll talk more about him when I get right back. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here on YouTube covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On Plus, our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. I'm telling y'all, do it today, people. Definitely do it today. Now, so I don't know, man. This business is kind of cruel, though. It is. So word breaks that Kenny Lofton is going to sign with the Sixers. And then you say to yourself, like, okay, well, I mean, we were at practice, literally. Like, next thing you look down and like it's breaking that he's about to sign with the Sixers, And so then all of a sudden it's like, well, he's going to sign with a three-way. They already have three-way players. So that means somebody has to get cut in order for them to sign him. So you're like, okay, so who is going to get cut? Well, the Sixers were practicing, just concluded practice. So they had like guys, what the Sixers tend to do is when the practice is officially over or whatever, towards the end of practice, like they'll let the media in. And when we get in, we typically see guys going through drills. So now Turk Smith and Ricky Council, the two of the three-way players, were with the team, right? The G League team. The other one, Javonte Smart, was with the Sixers. He played in his first game on Friday, played the final 40 seconds, talking about his first 76ers game, right? So you're like, okay, well, who's it going to be? I see Javonte. The next thing you know, whoops, Javonte's waiting. And that's the cruel thing about the business, because it's like my man got basically cut while he was like on the court right after practice shooting shots. Didn't even know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who knows, man? If he knew it, but it was just kind of like, wow, really? Like he was literally out there. And then next thing you know, reports like Sixers waive such and such, going to waive such and such. And you're like, wow, ouch. Okay. I mean, it's tough, man. Like I heard stories of guys. One guy told me once that he was playing for, I believe it was the Pistons or somewhere. And I know I'm gonna get to Kenny Lofton, but I got to share this one. So literally, the plane was leaving the gate, right? The plane was leaving the gate, getting ready to take off, and they stopped, and they took him off the plane. Seriously. I like he told me that. He said that was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to him. Then I heard of one time where, and this happened here early in the process, where the guy, the team was in Cleveland, going to Cleveland. It was like a back-to-back. It was like a back-to-back. They were playing on a back-to-back, and the guy was in Cleveland. They played Cleveland. So, they had the hotel all day. And as he hopped on the bus, he literally hops on the bus. And as he's getting ready to get off the bus at the arena, that's when he was informed that he was waived. I'm telling you, dude, it can be rough. It can be rough, how that thing happens. But now they got Kenny Lofton, right? So Kenny Lofton, Kenny Lofton Jr. is, was, like I said, 6'7", listed 275, 280. I'm hearing he's more like 300, and I'm not saying he's fat. He's just a big dude. He looks like he could be a defensive lineman. Like, he's a big dude, right? So he averaged 2.6 points, 2.6 points in 6.6 minutes in 15 games for the Grizzlies this season, right? What happened is the Grizzlies had to create space for Ja Morant, who was suspended the first 25 games. So they had another player that they felt like they wanted to keep. So they had to end up getting rid of Lofton, right? Now the thing about it is Lofton initially signed a two-way contract with Memphis after going undrafted out of Louisiana Tech in 2022, right? He was the M he was the NBA G League Rookie of the Year in 2023 for the Memphis Hustle. So, he was the guy, right? Now he averaged 20.2 points, 10.5 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and 1.2 steals in 17 games last season with the Hustle. Now the crazy part about this, so as a two-way, he's going to play for the Sixers and play for the Blue Coats, the Sixers G League team. But the crazy part is he had a career high 33 points against the Blue Coats last season. That happened on February the 3rd. He also represented the G League in the 2023 Rising Stars Challenge at the NBA All-Star Weekend. So, he's a good addition. The only thing is like, I don't know. I mean, the Sixers say they stay locked, step and key, but I don't know anybody as of thus far. It might happen this year with Turk Smith and Ricky Council, but I don't know any. And even Ricky was waived, but he was brought back. But that hasn't been since Daryl Morey has been here. There hasn't been a single guy who started the season with a two-way contract that finished the season with it. Like they just get them and they go. Now who knows? Kenny Lofton could be a guy they want to get a nice long hard look at and might see because he does have some potential. He is somebody has to provide bench help, grab boards, do stuff like that. So he could be someone you look at. But it's weird. Like if you think that if you want to play for that team's NBA roster full time, you would go somewhere else. You wouldn't come to Philly because it just doesn't happen that way. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't. But look, y'all, I want to thank y'all for listening. Tomorrow I'm going to break down tomorrow's game with the Miami Heat, the whole nine. But I want y'all to have a blessed day. Don't drink too much eggnog tonight. Don't do anything crazy. And Merry Christmas, Hanukkah pass. I just say all the holidays, Kwanzaa, whatever. Like whatever you celebrate, all that. And I shouldn't say whatever because that seems dismissive. But like all the holidays, I want you guys to enjoy them and have a blessed day. Hopefully John will be back tomorrow and we can break this thing back down. Peace.